The office holiday party was buzzing with laughter and clinking glasses, and I found myself hovering near the corner, nursing a drink. My wife, Clara, was dazzling as always, chatting animatedly with her co-workers. I felt a strange mix of pride and unease. Something about the way her colleague, Vanessa, kept glancing at her phone made me uneasy. I had come to enjoy a night out, but the moment I noticed Vanessa subtly approach me, my instincts told me this wasn't going to be ordinary small talk. Vanessa's voice was low, almost conspiratorial. "Can I talk to you somewhere private?" she asked, glancing over her shoulder. I nodded, following her to a quieter hallway away from the crowd. Her eyes darted nervously. Then, in a whisper I could barely believe, she confessed, "Clara, she's seeing someone. Something secret." My heart stopped. I froze, not knowing if I'd misheard. She leaned in closer, oblivious to my identity, spilling details about late-night texts, secret meetings, and a man Clara had been hiding from everyone. I forced a casual laugh, masking the surge of betrayal I felt. Vanessa had no idea who she was talking to. I was standing there, my wife's husband, listening to a confession that shattered my perception of everything. Every word she said felt like a knife twisting slowly. She described romantic dinners, whispered messages, and a familiarity in Clara's tone that didn't exist with me. I realized then that Clara's smiles, her laughter, her casual touches, they were not just playful, they were for someone else. I kept my face neutral, asking questions that made Vanessa think I was merely curious, a friendly listener. She continued unaware, painting vivid scenes of Clara sneaking out after work, lying about meetings, and sneaking texts when she thought no one was watching. I felt a cold, hollow rage rising inside me, but I controlled it, letting the suspense build. Every detail Vanessa shared was a breadcrumb trail into Clara's double life, and I realized I needed proof before confronting anything. As she rambled, I started noticing patterns. The names of restaurants, the timing of certain events, the subtle mentions of a man named Daniel. Everything clicked into a puzzle I hadn't wanted to see. My mind raced, calculating, planning. How long had this been going on? How many nights had Clara smiled at me while hiding this? Vanessa finished her confession, looking anxious. "I'm sorry to tell you this. I didn't know you were her husband." That's when I smiled softly, hiding the storm inside. The remainder of the party blurred around me. Vanessa excused herself, leaving me with a cocktail I barely touched. My eyes found Clara across the room, laughing with friends as if nothing existed outside this perfect facade. Every word Vanessa had whispered replayed in my mind. I had a choice. Explode, demand answers, or quietly plan. Silence can be more terrifying than confrontation, and I realized I had the upper hand now, armed with knowledge she never intended me to have. Later, I returned home under the pretense of work exhaustion, watching Clara from the living room couch. My heart thumped, but I kept my voice calm. "How was the party?" I asked. She smiled, oblivious. "It was fun. Everyone's so busy these days. It's nice to let loose." I nodded, asking casual questions, all the while planning. I needed to know if this secret man, Daniel, was still part of her life tonight. Every text notification, every subtle glance at her phone would confirm my suspicions. My opportunity came sooner than I expected. Clara excused herself to the kitchen, leaving her phone unattended on the coffee table. My fingers hovered, trembling, as I picked it up. Messages from Daniel flashed across the screen, late-night texts, flirty emojis, and references to dates I had never been invited to. I read everything carefully, documenting each betrayal. My stomach churned, but I forced calm. Proof was mine, undeniable, and the weight of it gave me a strange power I had never felt before. I decided to test her. Later that night, I pretended to have forgotten about the party entirely, casually mentioning Vanessa the next morning. Clara froze subtly but masked it quickly. I smiled inwardly. The guilt, or perhaps fear, was showing. "Vanessa's nice, isn't she?" I said casually. She nodded, eyes flicking to mine, searching for something. I let the silence stretch, letting her anxiety grow. Every second of her discomfort fueled my resolve. She thought she was untouchable, but tonight, the dynamic had shifted. Days passed, and I played my part. Friendly husband, normal life, all the while gathering more evidence. Every excuse she made, every secretive message, I traced silently. I discovered hidden meetings, social media interactions deleted after hours, and subtle lies about work trips. The suspense was unbearable, but I relished it. She had underestimated me completely. The woman who thought she could deceive her husband had no idea I was meticulously documenting her downfall. Finally, I confronted Vanessa again, subtly. "Thanks for trusting me with what you did," I said lightly, watching her expression shift. She realized the depth of her mistake too late, her eyes widening. You're Clara's husband?" I nodded. Her face paled, guilt and fear mixing. I explained that I hadn't needed her cooperation to discover everything. Vanessa had just accelerated my understanding. The realization that my wife's secrets were now out in the open, at least to me, was intoxicating. That evening, Clara returned home late from work, expecting normalcy. I met her calmly in the living room, my collected demeanor masking the storm within. "Clara, we need to talk," I said softly. She looked at me, smiling nervously. I handed her phone across the table, showing messages, screenshots, and evidence of her betrayal. Her face went from surprise to panic. I can explain," she stammered. I raised a hand to silence her. Silence, I realized, was the sharpest weapon of all. I didn't shout. I didn't beg. I let her stare at her secrets, her guilt, her lies. The suspense hung in the air, thick and suffocating. She was speechless, eyes welling, knowing there was no escape. I explained that trust had been broken, not just by her, but by her recklessness, assuming her life could be double-sided. The party, Vanessa's confession, the texts, all of it had revealed a truth she couldn't ignore. I had chosen silence before. Now, I wielded proof. Weeks passed, and the tension never faded. Clara tried to justify, to apologize, but I remained composed, keeping my distance. The suspense, the knowledge, and the betrayal created a chasm too wide to bridge casually. Vanessa's confession, initially horrifying, had given me clarity. I realized I could not continue as though nothing happened, and yet confrontation was no longer about anger. It was about control, power, and the slow, cold unraveling of a marriage built on deceit. In the end, Clara understood fully. The illusion of control was gone. I had known, I had proof, and I had patience. The suspense, the hidden glances, the secrets revealed, everything had changed. She could not return to the life she had lied to me about. And I, for the first time, understood the intoxicating weight of knowledge. Vanessa's inadvertent confession had shattered everything, and I had emerged from the shadows, calm, collected, and unbroken, watching the consequences of betrayal unfold before me.